Hello guys, Cappy here, and I would like to address some misconceptions around Boombot trade. Boombots have been getting a lot more traction recently due to some buffs and meta shifts. Recently I watched two videos of creators that I really enjoy and respect, that is Sub-Zero Arc and Learning TFT, and they both talked briefly about how much damage Boombot does, and well, I think people kind of think that Boombot does much more than it actually does. So let's watch both of these short clips.
One here, but I mean that 150 to 325, that is an insane increase in the amount of damage amp. If you think of it, the way that I've heard it kind of said is that 150 damage for every 400 damage. That is, let me pull out. Oh, let's bring out the calculator. So we have 150 over 400 damage. That's 37.5 damage amp essentially.
And from Learning TFT.
Fires 2 missiles, each dealing 275 damage. So that's basically more than 100% damage amp, because for every 400 damage dealt, you are dealing you're dealing 550 damage. And so that's why
Okay, so this is actually the same way that I was thinking about it before, but here is why that is wrong. So the issue is that this 400 damage that you need to proc this effect is post-mitigation damage, while whichever this number is pre-mitigation damage. So let's do an example. Let's say we have a 100 armor and MR unit, which effectively reduces damage this unit takes by 50%. So to proc this effect, we actually need 800 pre-mitigation damage to deal actual 400 damage, and only then, well, assuming we play 6 Boombots, we deal 550 also pre-mitigation damage. So the actual damage increase is 69%, and not as many people would believe, well, basically twice that amount, right? So 137 and a half. Yeah, so to deal this you deal this 400 damage, and then the whatever damage you deal gets halved because of the damage reduction. So the actual damage increase is much lower. Boombot is not the same as damage amplification. So let's compare it to Golden Ox, for example. Golden Ox does not care about armor and MR or durability of the unit that you are dealing damage to, right? Because if you are dealing damage and you have, let's say, 60% damage amp, you are just dealing 60% more damage. Boombot, on the other hand, does care how well tanky in terms of like MR, armor, and durability the unit is. Because in like ideal world, if the unit that you are dealing damage to has no armor and MR, then yes, having 6 Boombot, you would be dealing 550 more damage for and every 400 damage dealt. But the more armor and MR and durability the unit has, the less of an effect Boombot has, right? Because you need to actually deal much more like pre-mitigation damage to proc this effect, and the damage you deal is also much lower. So realistically, the amount like percentage wise is probably very often like basically half of what people think. Sometimes even less when we are talking about some like giga tanks with 3 items and some additional damage reduction on top of that. So yeah, that's basically it. Take care.